If you're living on Social Security, every dollar matters. You feel it at the grocery store, at the gas pump, and when the electricity bill arrives, you budget carefully, you stretch every payment, and sometimes it still doesn't feel like enough. That's why the latest news about a possible $2,000 Treasury rebate is getting so much attention across the country. For millions of seniors, this isn't just a headline. This is about your rent, your medication, your food, and your peace of mind. Reports suggest that a new round of financial relief could be moving through federal channels, and many retirees are watching closely to see whether they qualify. The idea of a direct rebate from the Treasury has created hope for people who have spent years struggling with rising costs. From prescription drugs to property taxes, the financial pressure hasn't let up. And for many seniors, fixed income means there's no room for surprises. This potential $2,000 payment represents more than just money. It represents breathing room, it represents the ability to fix the car, pay off a bill, or finally replace something that's been broken for months. But as exciting as the headline sounds, there are important details you need to understand. Who qualifies? When could payments arrive? And what should you be doing right now to make sure you don't miss out? Because in situations like this, timing and information can make all the difference. And the people who stay informed are often the ones who benefit the most. What the $2,000 Treasury rebate really means. When you hear the words $2,000 Treasury rebate, it's easy to imagine a check already on the way, but the reality is more complicated. Federal payments go through multiple stages before they ever reach your bank account. There are proposals, reviews, approvals, and processing phases. Each step takes time, and each step determines who ultimately receives the money. For Social Security seniors, this type of rebate is usually tied to economic relief efforts or special federal programs designed to help those on fixed incomes. The goal is simple: provide direct financial support to people who need it most. But the way those payments are delivered can vary. Some are automatic. Others require updated information, and in certain cases, eligibility rules can change before the final approval. That's why it's critical to understand that not every headline tells the full story. Some announcements refer to proposals still being debated, others talk about payments in early processing stages, and sometimes information spreads faster than official confirmation. For you and your family, the most important thing is knowing where the process stands. If a payment is confirmed and approved, it usually follows a structured timeline. First comes the authorization, then comes the processing, and finally, the distribution through direct deposit or mailed checks. Right now, many seniors are watching for official updates because those details will determine exactly who gets the $2,000, when it arrives, and what steps, if any, you need to take. Why seniors are at the center of this payment. Over the past few years, seniors have been hit from every direction. Inflation pushed grocery prices higher, rent increased in many cities, utility bills climbed, and medical expenses continued to rise. For people living on a fixed Social Security payment, these increases didn't come with matching income boosts. That's one reason why federal relief efforts often focus on seniors. Lawmakers know that retirees don't have the option of working extra shifts or taking a second job. Your Social Security check is your main source of income, and when prices go up, your budget gets squeezed. The idea behind a $2,000 rebate is to provide immediate financial relief, not months from now, not years from now, but right when families need it most. For many retirees, that money could cover several months of groceries or a major medical bill. It could prevent credit card debt. It could stop late fees from piling up. And for some households, it could make the difference between stability and crisis. That's why these types of payments generate so much attention. They're not abstract policy decisions. They're real dollars that affect real lives. If approved and processed, this rebate would be aimed at giving seniors the breathing room they've been asking for. But as always, the details will determine exactly who benefits. How the payment process usually works. When the federal government issues a rebate or stimulus-style payment, the process typically follows a familiar path. First, the payment must be authorized through legislation or an official federal program. That authorization defines the amount, the eligibility rules, and the distribution method. Once approved, the Treasury Department begins the processing phase. This is where payment lists are created using information from agencies like the Social Security Administration and the IRS. These lists determine who qualifies and how the money will be delivered. For most Social Security recipients, payments are often automatic. If your direct deposit information is already on file, the money usually goes straight into your bank account. This is the fastest method and often the first to be processed. However, for people without direct deposit, paper checks or prepaid debit cards may be used. These methods take longer and can arrive weeks after electronic payments. The key takeaway is that once payments move into the processing phase, the timeline becomes much more predictable. But until the authorization is fully confirmed, nothing is guaranteed. That's why staying updated on official announcements is so important. Who could qualify for the $2,000 eligibility is always the biggest question. Not every federal payment goes to everyone. Most programs have income limits, benefit categories, or filing requirements. In many past rebate programs, Social Security retirees, SSDI recipients, and SSI beneficiaries were included automatically. These groups are often considered priority recipients because they rely on federal benefits as their primary income. Income thresholds may also play a role. Some programs limit payments to individuals below certain earnings levels. Others provide full payments to lower income households and reduced amounts to those with higher incomes. Another factor is filing status. Whether you file taxes as single, married, or head of household can affect your eligibility and payment amount. The important thing to remember is that final qualification rules are always set during the approval process, and those rules determine exactly who receives the payment. When payments could arrive. If a $2,000 rebate enters the processing stage, the next big question is timing. Seniors want to know exactly when that money could show up. In past federal payment programs, direct deposits were often sent first, sometimes within a few weeks of approval. Paper checks and debit cards followed in phases, depending on mailing schedules and processing order. Some recipients received payments within days, others waited several weeks. The timing often depended on how the payment was delivered and how quickly the Treasury could process the data. For seniors relying on Social Security, direct deposit remains the fastest and most reliable option. If your banking information is already on file, you're usually in the first group to receive funds. What you should do right now. Even if a payment is expected, there are steps you can take to protect yourself and your benefits. First, make sure your direct deposit information is accurate and up to date. This helps avoid delays. Second, watch for official announcements from the Social Security Administration or the Treasury Department. These are the sources that provide confirmed details. Third, be cautious of scams. Whenever stimulus-style payments are discussed, fraud attempts increase. If someone asks for personal information or promises to speed up your payment, that's a red flag. How this could affect your monthly budget. For many seniors, an extra $2,000 could cover multiple expenses at once. It might pay off a credit card balance, handle a medical bill, or cover rent for a month or two. This kind of payment isn't just about relief, it's about stability. It gives households the chance to catch up, reduce debt, or prepare for future expenses. And for retirees who have been stretching every dollar, that breathing room can make a huge emotional and financial difference. The bigger picture for Social Security recipients. The discussion around this rebate is part of a larger conversation about retirement security. Millions of Americans depend on Social Security, and rising costs continue to put pressure on those benefits. Payments like this are often seen as short-term relief, while bigger policy debates continue. Lawmakers are constantly discussing cost of living adjustments, benefit increases, and long-term funding solutions. For seniors, staying informed about these changes is essential. The more you know, the better you can plan your finances and protect your future. Right now, millions of seniors are watching the same question. Will the $2,000 rebate become a reality? And when will it arrive? The answer depends on official approvals, processing timelines, and final eligibility rules. What matters most is staying informed, because when payments are announced, the people who know the details are the ones who receive their money faster and avoid costly mistakes. This isn't just about a single payment. It's about your financial security, your monthly budget, and your peace of mind. Every update could affect your wallet, your bills, and your future. So stay alert, watch for official confirmations, and keep following reliable updates, because the next announcement could directly impact you and your family. Or